Hey there, greetings everybody. I want to welcome you here to Prog Monster. My name is Murph. I am the host of this show, a show dedicated to progressive rock and other forms of rock music. So we're starting a mini-series tonight. This will be one of two mini-series that will probably run concurrently. Maybe there might even be a third one because the first one will probably end before this particular one we're doing gets a chance to finish. So this one's going to be every second week for 5 weeks. So that's what 10 weeks from now it'll be finished. So yeah, more than likely there'll be a few more series going on at the same time. But for the information on this one, so this is my 5 favorite drummers, my mini series on my 5 favorite drummers. We're going to be talking about I'm ranking them, so this will be my 5th, the number 5 favorite drummer here. So we're going to be talking about a little bit about their career, some of the stuff they've done, and a little bit about why I think they're such a good drummer, how I see them in the drumming echelons of drumming, that kind of stuff. So we're going to start today's drummer, of course. If you've been watching this week, you'll know is going to be Phil Collins. So Phil Collins. So I had about 8 or 9 drummers that I had kind of narrowed it down to, and the first 3 were going to be the first 3, and then the next 2 were kind of probably between 4 guys, but Phil Collins had to be on there, I think. He's just had too much influence on the music I listen to, too many albums he's been on that I've liked, and he has a lot of stuff too, so that makes him. So first of all, Phil Collins is the son of June Collins, who for most of you know was well, maybe most of you don't know, she was the producer of the Banana Splits, or H.R. Puffin stuff. And so she had some connections, and she got him into some stuff, and he eventually ended up playing with Genesis, and this was his debut album, along with Steve Hackett. They both debuted on this album. Prior to this, they had a different drummer and a different guitar player. On this album, they decided to step it up a bit, and stepped it up quite a bit, because both Steve Hackett and Phil Collins are exceptional musicians. Phil Collins showing right up front how good he was on this album, and going forth on the Genesis stuff, I think some of his best work is here as well. Then he at one point he took over vocals on this album. Was his first taking over the vocals from Peter Gabriel. So not only was he singing the lead vocal part, he was also playing the drums on this too. So his job description doubled overnight, and it's not easy to step in and play and sing the vocal parts for somebody as notoriously good as Peter Gabriel either. And then he did his own stuff too. Once the band started getting into that pop phase, which started in around, and then there were 3, was kind of the beginning of it, but really started to accentuate in Duke and beyond that. Then he got and started doing some of his own solo albums, and I like most of his earlier solo stuff. I like this, of course. This was his debut one with that iconic drum riff, which he got the idea from doing Intruder on Peter Gabriel 3. That was the beginning of that, and then this, he just took it further on this album. Then, he had some other stuff, but seriously, this is a really good album. No Jacket Required, yeah. I forgot the name for a minute. And I actually personally like this one quite a bit too. Hello, I Must Be Going. Really good vocal stuff and some interesting drum stuff. But by that time, his drumming wasn't the prominent thing with him. It was his vocals that had become the prominent thing with him. So he, I believe, is the only drummer on my list who really has any of that kind of vocal stuff going on. But definitely one of the classically best drummers. And he did some stuff in the 70s, kind of jazz fusion stuff with Brand X, which was, if you hear him on that stuff, he's wow, you know, that's where you really get. With Genesis, his music was, you know, like all the rest of the members of Genesis, was put into the context of the songs, and you don't really get to hear him going off like you do with Brand X, where his work is just absolutely extraordinary in that album, especially early on with the Brand X. I think he's one of the great jazz. He shows that he can do all that stuff. He can do it all, really. And he did do some collaborations, like with Philip Bailey when they did the Sussudio, or Easy Lover, I should say. And he did some other stuff with a few other people too, I think. But that was more vocally related, so we're not here really to talk about that too much. His most iconic riff is probably, of course, on Face Value, with that drum part at the beginning, the heavy drum part. That's the most noticeable. Is it his best work? No, not really, but definitely that's kind of put this, not only this album on the map, but him on the map, and then his vocal parts took over. His technical skills, I think, are really good. He has a wide range of technical skills. I think he can play that progressive stuff really well. He can play the poppy stuff that you need to play if you're making pop albums like he is. The heavy stuff, if he needs to play heavy, he can do that. But also all that technical stuff that he played with Brand X really shows his ability to not just play rock, but play other types of music as well. Yeah, I think Phil Collins has to rank up there amongst the very best drummers in the world. His current status, I mean, he can't play anymore. He's got problems with his back, and he's got all kinds of issues, so he can't even stand up really. So it's just unfortunate for a drummer. He can't even play anymore. His son has been playing drums with Genesis when they were on their kind of final tour there. But he's definitely one of the great, maybe unknown drummers. For a lot of people don't even realize he was a drummer. They always think of him as the singer, because that dominate, where some of these other drummers, there's never been any question about what they are. But with him, a lot of people never really thought of him as a drummer. I mean, I'm talking about the average person. I'm not talking about people that watch these, or who are in the prog universe, if you want, or are on YouTube, or part of the prog community here on YouTube. We all know what Phil Collins is capable of. And so there it is. That's my attention to Phil Collins and to my 5 favorite drummers. This is episode 1. Phil comes in at number 5. The next episode will be number 4. Probably going to be a bit of a surprise for people. They won't have thought of this guy as being among my favorite drummers, but we'll be back with that one in about 2 weeks. I hope to see you then. Please hit the notification bell so you don't miss any contact. Hit the like and subscribe. Both are much appreciated. And if you got any comments about Phil Collins or drumming, or maybe I missed something completely here, that's fine too. Put that down below. You know, it's always interesting to find out little bits of information that you weren't aware of. So take care and have yourself a good day. Goodbye.